Ding! It is 10 o'clock. It's actually 10:02 on the west coast of the United States. And it is 05:02 GMT on a Sunday morning. If you happen to be watching us in London, England, it is that time of day. And this is fast food, junk food, extravaganza for almost the last day of May. There's one more day in May, isn't there?
There's one more day and like an hour and 58 minutes left. So.
Righto. Okay, so hopefully we're coming in clear. We've been struggling with a myriad of technical difficulties, trying to overcome them to bring you this show, especially because we both kind of decided at the last minute that we couldn't really do a show last week.
Right, yeah. Last week it didn't work out, and I don't even remember. It was not happening. That's all I know.
It was bad reasons for you. It was just a bunch of reasons for you. It was a bunch of different reasons for me, and between the two of us, we're like, hey, let's say fuck it this week. So we said fuck it, and that's kind of how it goes, and that's fine, because, we're still sort of going... We're still doing this sort of out of the goodness of our hearts and trying to just make an interesting news-based show rather than worry about advertising or promotion or any of that stuff yet. But that said, we didn't want to skip 2 weeks in a row, so I'm glad we're able to get something on the air here, even if it's only for an hour. And let's talk about what we have coming up, because what we have coming up is pretty interesting, despite the fact that we're having all this trouble. Fast food desserts up the yin-yang. You had a couple of great stories about new fast food desserts that I love. More fast food delivery options. Trading food for weed hits. I love that story. I can't wait to hear more about that. And also, does removing artificial ingredients make fast food more palatable? Does it make it tastier? Or does it make it more healthful or more nourishing?
Right.
Does it do none of that? We have a bunch of great stories coming up. Where do you think we should start?
Since we talked about it in December, about the delivery. King of Burger.
Yes, tell me about the delivery.
Back in December, we talked about that in the UK, they were doing Burger King fast food delivery, and we're like, what? Oh my God, this is amazing.
Yes.
That they now have it finally back starting up in the US.
And where was it that we talked about it when it was first being discussed? It's hard to believe we've been doing this podcast now 6 months, for one thing. That's pretty amazing. But where was it being talked about back then?
It was in the UK. It wasn't in the US yet.
Right. Okay. Got it. And now here it's in the U.S. in, of all places, Texas.
I know. Actually, there's a number of places, and I can't find the website now. Burger King Delivers, I believe, is what it is. Can't find it. Looking for it right now. But basically, there are a number of cities in the U.S. that have Burger King fast food delivery.
Wow. And that, it's not all that startling, I guess, because we have been talking about, it's kind of becoming the latest trend as far as like fast food news is concerned. Taco Bell is discussing it. Burger King is discussing it. It seems like there have even been other places as well.
They're discussing it, but it really hadn't been implemented. I know that I saw that it was in Colorado.
Yes.
Because when you think of people who are inebriated from being able to drive somewhere,
yes.
Colorado does kind of come to mind.
And why do you think that is? Why does it come to your mind?
Well, it was the first state to legalize recreational marijuana.
Yes.
And you kind of think of, hey, here's an activity that we're going to do. Oh, wait, now I want food.
Yes. And along with that, by the way, I think we've been talking about advertising. For instance, particularly the Jack in the Box ads that have kind of, for a couple of years now, embraced the stoner mentality, I guess you'd say, in catering.
Late night munchies.
Late night munchy people, exactly. And I tried looking for some of those commercials on YouTube and had trouble finding any of the classic ones with the little Jack puppet that floats up in the air and that kind of thing. But I know they have them, and now there's a new breed of these commercials which talk about just the late night munchie where there's a cheeseburger inside of a grilled cheese sandwich, that kind of thing. That's pretty goddamn badass, I have to say. That's
Right.
I mean, I'm not sure I could complete one. I'm not sure I could sort of finish one, but I would love to try.
I know that in Tucson, there was a place called Lindy's on 4th Avenue that had the grilled cheese sandwich, burger patty, grilled cheese sandwich combination. And there's a food truck up here in Portland that's OMG. It's either OMG Cats or OMG Burgers. And they've got little, the meme pictures of the cats that have grilled cheese, burger, grilled cheese.
Uh-huh. And what do you think about it? What do you think about, I mean, would you be into a grilled cheese hamburger combination?
I have had them. They have been okay. Again, they're more greasy than the normal cheeseburger because the thing about the cheeseburger is that bun, that outside bun, is not greasy. Whereas if you have a grilled cheese, it's been fried, and usually you butter your bread before you put it on and grill it. So you have a more messy thing going on.
Yes, and that's okay though. I mean, I actually don't mind that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you want a grilled cheese to have a little bit of that greasy texture to the outside, and I guess
you're also talking to the person who eats Cheetos with chopsticks. I don't like getting my fingers,
Bless your heart. I think many people who eat the junk food and the fast food probably are, let's just say, free of that particular quirk. You know what I'm saying? Many people that eat Doritos or Cheetos, it is just par for the course that you're going to have orange fingertips. So I think that's a very interesting thing about you, sweet Sarabelle, is that you sort of have that. Now, I don't have that particular quirk, but in general, I identify with it because, for instance, like you want to talk about music festivals, whether it's Lollapalooza, whether it's Woodstock, whether it's Coachella. Music festivals have this, or even like the more Burning Man kind of generic hippie dippy bullshit festival. I'm all about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but I don't see why getting dirty also has to be in it. Why you have to roll around in the
pits and the dust and.
I don't think you should have to want to roll around in the fucking mud to enjoy sex, drugs, or rock and roll. So I love all of those things. I just don't like getting dirty. So I kind of identify. I see where you're coming from. Speaking of stoner, fast food, junk food combinations, where was the news story you sent me? I'll try to pull it up here. But where was the story about the place that was giving away?
Yeah. So my boyfriend sent this to me. That it is KFC. No, not KFC. That wasn't it. Oh, I have it somewhere.
I have it.
It was basically.
I'll pull it up here.
They were trading hits off of. It was tabbing, that the marijuana that's been
dabbing. Yes. Now we should probably talk a little bit about it if you're not familiar with the pot lingo.
I'm not.
Yeah, you're very much not a pot person. So, I mean, I have not gotten high, and I can't even say how long. It's been a long, long time. But I will tell you that there is smoking pot in the traditional way, kind of like smoking tobacco in the traditional way. And then there is vaping, right? Vaporization, or using this kind of concentrated extract, liquid, or substance. In the case of pot, it's more of a waxy, sticky goo type material, as I understand it. I have never dabbed ever in my life. But
I have no idea.
That it's essentially the equivalent of vaping, I think, when it comes to tobacco. And I guess it's a way, it's just another way of getting high is really all it is.
Well, I have the story. Did you find it? Because I've got it up on my screen.
Oh, pull it up and tell me all about it.
So I'm going to go ahead and share
Switch over and if it asks you present to everyone or share with everyone, go ahead and click that, because I think that will share it with you too.
Is that it? Yes. No,
yes.
That's not it. Okay. Now, do you see yourself now?
What's that?
Is that it? Do you see
you? Let me work on pulling it up here. But I mean, it was. Here we go. I found it. It's from Jezebel.com. It's kind of a food blog that we have talked about before. On this show, because Jezebel is a sort of a feminist blog. Is that right?
I guess they have a number. They have a feminist skew on it. And I know when you look at like the main page, it's got the Rosie the Riveter, we can do it kind of thing. But they talk about a lot of things. They talk about a number of different things.
Now you should see it on my screen here if I select
yes.
it. This is it. And there's even a video. Should we watch the video before we do anything else?
Yeah, so we can explain it before you roll the video. Basically what it is, it's at Tacoma, Washington. The guy through the drive-thru was like, hey, can I pay for my food with some dabs? And I guess the person with the dabs of the waxy stuff thing.
The vape, yeah, a vaporized weed thing.
Okay. And he said, yeah, and so he rolls up to the window asking who wants some, and you can see the reaction of the employees.
Hey, let's go ahead and watch the video here and just see what we get. This is pretty amusing. It's only 43 seconds. If it will play. It does not seem to want to play. Play, please. Maybe I'll scooch it forward a little bit. There we go. There you can see his vaporizing device there.
Yeah.
No idea why this will not play. Damn you to hell. Let's try
I can try to play to mine if you want.
Here, I can play it on YouTube here, I think. Or maybe I can't. I just don't know. Go ahead and switch it over. I'll switch
I'm going to switch it over to mine. See if
By the way, talking about this video, 500,000 views almost on YouTube. So about 500,000 people have seen the video we're going to talk about here.
Okay, there we go. Do you see it, dear?
Yeah, I see it. Go ahead.
All right.
I can't hear much.
He said we're taking dabs. Well,
He's like, can we pay for it with dabs of weed? And this is in Washington State.
Tacoma, yeah.
Tacoma, yeah. All right, so that's it. And the result, as you might imagine, is that these employees were pretty much instantly terminated from their jobs. Is that right?
Right, yeah. They were terminated, and then there was kind of a storm about it. If you look in the article further, that people were upset because, well, it's legal now. Well, you know, the workplace has a strict no drug policy. So, you know, if that's the policy, that's the policy.
Well, yeah, and I mean, you don't want to be doing a job while you're high on hand. On your hand, you don't want to be driving while smoking, like actually actively operating a motor vehicle and engaging in the use of marijuana. Probably not smart.
No.
Despite the fact that it's completely illegal for recreational use in your private home in this state, no one's saying that's a bad idea. Believe me, no one here is saying that.
Right,
but,
and the thing is, you just topped off of it. It's in your home, not in your vehicle, not in public. I think in some private clubs you can also smoke where you pay for a membership, but it's in your home. It's like, you know, going through the drive-thru at the liquor store and drinking it while you're still driving.
Yeah, and nobody says you should be able to drink in the drive-thru of the liquor. Now, there was a comedian, you know Jon Stewart, the comedian, right?
Yeah.
He talked about how there was, or how there just always is, no matter what the protest is, no matter what the demonstration or large group of people protesting is, somewhere in the back of the crowd of the group of protesters is a guy holding up a legalized weed sign, you know, like in every protest everywhere for all time. And he's like, what? Jon Stewart, the comedian's question is, well, are you having trouble finding it? Like, why? Why is this? You know, and he sort of was saying it's kind of available everywhere. And this is back in the day when it was still illegal in all 50 states for recreational use. And it's just like, I don't know, because the article in Jezebel.com that I was reading, and I could actually switch back over to it just so I can see, it makes the point that it's not about being against weed. We're all for weed in this article, but they yeah, the employees are ultimately responsible for their own firing. Not that there's anything wrong with marijuana use in general, but they're being fired for what this blogger calls egregious stupidity. Using drugs on the job is dumb enough, but doing so when you know people are filming it, come on, you're asking to be fired at that point. And they go on to say, now the restaurant is called Frugal's, which is not something I've ever heard of.
Neither, me neither.
It says it's in the Pacific Northwest, maybe only Washington State, but they say, in their statement about the firings, the company managed to break the land speed record for self-righteous douchery. First, they addressed the fact they have a no drugs workplace policy. Less reasonable was the follow-up comment. How very unfortunate that the media has chosen to spotlight and sensationalize this incident, which may only serve to encourage this type of behavior in publicity-seeking individuals. And the guy whose name I don't even really want to say because it's like a stupid-ass, like, fake name. It's not a real name, and I know it's not his real name, but he talks about he's making a statement. He said, I don't think we're putting them in jeopardy. They chose to participate. The reality is we are making a statement. And the blogger says, oh, for fuck's sake, what statement are you making? Marijuana is legal. You won that fight. And obviously it'll be available everywhere, but you're trying to protest to make some kind of noble statement protesting the illegality of weed in states other than where you are. Like, I don't even understand the point that he thinks he's trying to make. But it is an interesting idea, paying for your fast food order in the drive-thru with live hits and
Well, I mean, and the thing is, though, if that's person, you have the ability to give away X amount of free meals. Or free pieces of chicken or whatever when you're working places at management discretion.
Yeah.
So it could have been like a manager's discretion to do that, but if it's just that employee who's running the drive-thru, she basically gave away, free food that should have come out of her paycheck. Who knows if it's a fireable, sort of thing or what, but. And
I think also Louis C.K. talked about it, and I think this probably should have been the response of the people at the drive-thru, which was Louis C.K. was he's always saying, like, people are always coming up to him and saying, hey, do you want to get high? Do you want to go out and get stoned? Yeah. And his response is always, could I just get my portion to go smoke alone without you later? Like, that's what they should have done.
We listened to that in the car. It was kind of like, can I just get my bit to go home? I don't really want to be around you.
I want to get high, just not with you. I want to get high, just not with you. Maybe that was a solution. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
But let's also talk about, we've done deliveries, we've done the pot. Let's talk about artificialness. What does it mean to you to hear about an artificial ingredient? What is an artificial ingredient?
The artificial ingredients, two things come to mind. Red dye, number 5. Isn't that like the most,
I'll go ahead and hold up my lovely canister of Red Mountain Dew here. I'm sure there's no artificial coloring here whatsoever.
None whatsoever. And, the artificial ingredients, when Subway had to stop putting this ingredient in their bread because it was basically the same thing that styrofoam mats were made out of,
Okay. I was just going to say, well, this is sort of the new thing. It's sort of like the new push for fast food restaurants. Now, we talked about the fast food restaurants, and I mean, we talked about one and then another did this, removing soda from the kids menu.
Kids menus, yeah.
Even though it's still available as long as the person just asks for it. It's not even an extra charge. It's just you have to know to ask for the soda, which is, by the way, still on the adults menu, one square over from the children's menu. I guess they're thinking children never look at the adult menu or don't know what a soda, what the Coca-Cola logo is over here and why it's not over. I mean, that's just silly. But now we're talking about restaurants that are what is it exactly? They're doing away.
I actually have the article up. Surprise, surprise.
Okay.
So basically, Taco Bell and Pizza Hut, part of the Yum brand, are going natural, kind of. Basically,
okay.
They're going to try to banish things like artificial coloring and high fructose corn syrup. But the products that they're still making, like the branded ones, like the Doritos Locos Taco or the Captain Crunch which I still have not had yet. I have not seen them do it.
What is it? What is the Captain Crunch thing again? That's obviously
the cinnamon thing. We were talking about it. That it's like a giant Captain Crunch. It's filled with frosting in the middle, kind of donut thing.
It's like their little. It's like their Cinnabon donut holes that they make.
Right. And I still haven't seen it yet. But they're announcing that they are planning to remove artificial flavors and colors from its menu, basically by the end of July. They are a part of the big health, craze, kind of like Chipotle with the sustainable meats and everything. Panera also has an unacceptable ingredients list that they plan to get rid of by 2016. And basically it's all of the, I'm not sure if you can see it there, artificial ingredients. This is a big list of them. Lots of stuff I can't say. I mean, aspartame, I know.
One of the things I think is interesting is that one of the things you see there is propylene glycol.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's the substance or the basis for the liquid that the people who vape inhale into their lungs.
Right. Propylene glycol and vegetable glycerin are the two main components in vape. So you have a cocktail, usually it's a 50-50 mix of both of those, and plus the flavor.
So I'm here to tell you right now that anybody who is supportive of this reduction in artificial ingredients, but then goes on to vape nicotine with their is full of shit. Right then and there, those people are absolutely full of shit because they're taking in one of the ingredients that's on the bad stuff list. Now, just so I've said this, I am not against high fructose corn syrup. I'm actually a big fan. I am not against what is the other one? Monosodium glutamate, MSG, which has long been said to be a bad thing, but I'm not aware of exactly what bad effects it has other than make food saltier and taste good. Now, again, you look at this one, nitrates and nitrites, they're eliminating the added nitrates and nitrites, but there are many nitrates and nitrites that are naturally occurring.
They're naturally occurring, that they're still going to leave in there. One thing I saw that was interesting with Panera is that they're going to remove lard. That is on their no-no list.
That's just animal fat. I mean, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. Vanillin. I saw vanillin at the end of that list. You know what vanillin is?
Isn't that like the fake vanilla?
It is essentially fake vanilla. It is. It's essentially from trees instead of the vanilla bean or something like that. But it is essentially no more artificial. Do you know what you see carmine over there on the left-hand side?
Uh-huh.
Do you know what carmine is? I'll tell you right now. It's a coloring.
Caramel coloring.
No, caramel coloring is two above that. Carmine is not caramel coloring. Carmine is red, and if you've eaten any kind of like strawberry yogurt from Yoplait or any of those other things where the yogurt is colored red, you'll often see carmine in the ingredients list. Now, here's one of the things I have a problem with. Carmine is actually not an artificial ingredient in the traditional sense. This is not a man-made chemical you're talking about. Carmine is a ground-up insect. It is a bug that is ground up into a fine powder and turns things red. So help me God, I'm looking up carmine right now because just so people understand this, I mean, it might be added artificially, but if you really want to talk about things that are like not natural, carmine is among the most natural. Now, I don't like it. I will not eat yogurt colored with carmine because I don't like ground up bugs in my fucking food. Here we go. Carmine is the pigment of a bright red color obtained from the aluminum salt, blah, 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 blah. The pigment is produced from some scale insects, such as the cochineal scale and certain Polyblomoma species. Carmine is used in the artificial things. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. There's the insect, I guess, which I don't want to even look at. But
no, don't. I don't want to look at it either.
But it is routinely added to food products such as yogurt, candy, certain brands of juice, the most notable ones being of the ruby red variety. So if you've had ruby red squirt or some other kind of ruby red beverage or yogurt or candy, there's a good chance that carmine is the coloring agent. It's not red dye number 5, which is artificial. It is carmine, which is a ground up insect. So
I want
I
to
mean,
say
people
that
like. I think people like to split the difference or split this hair. Where if it is man-made, it is bad, and if it is artificial, it is good. But
good.
I'm here to tell you, there's just as many artificial things that are totally fine for human health, and just as many nature-made things that will kill you.
Right.
And to split that hair is a ridiculous distinction to make for the most part.
Well, one of the articles that I had, I think I sent you, but I can't find it right now, was that the person was basically saying, yes, even though they're taking out these ingredients, that's not making it any healthier, because the
Yeah.
things that they're taking out aren't affecting your health negatively anyway. So it's
For the
not,
most part, yeah. And that's the key thing here. I mean, I like to really, I really rail on this artificial versus natural thing. For instance, what do they say? Stuff like pot is better for you than LSD because pot, really it depends on what you're doing with it and how much you're taking and a million other factors. But to say natural things are good and man-made things are bad is idiotic. Now, the other thing is carmine, even if you're okay with ground up insects in your food, it is not deleterious to health. It is not going to hurt you. So to remove it from Panera Bread's list or anybody else's list is a ridiculous thing because it doesn't affect the taste and it doesn't affect the nutrition. So what is the point? Now I don't do it because I don't like foods with carmine in it because I don't like ground up bugs in my food. And even I am probably a hypocrite in some way because most foods have allowable levels of
right.
bug.
And Rice Krispies, you're allowed to have so many bug parts per million because
Right.
when they thresh the wheat or rice there are bugs in them, so they naturally account for it.
Yeah, and it's kind of unavoidable. So to be squeamish about it in one sense is a little bit hypocritical, and I own that. Like I'm okay with being a little bit hypocritical, but at least I'm doing it from a knowledge-based standpoint. These people who just say, "Oh, natural things are natural and artificial things are," it's the whole backbone of the anti-GMO argument. The people who are against genetically modified foods when they don't realize that genetically modified foods are everything up to and including farmers that have bred a wheat stalk so that it doesn't tip over under its own weight, or farmers who have bred cattle to be bigger and bolder and more muscular or whatever the hell. Any farmer or rancher who's ever done any kind of selective breeding has been modifying the genetics of the natural occurring plant. And it's again, you're splitting a hair that is completely stupid, ridiculous hair to split, and you're doing it from an unscientific standpoint.
Right, and I mean, I saw something on Imager that was talking about the GMOs, is relating it to this person who is standing, at a vet. She's like, I don't want my dog to get vaccines because he's going to be autistic, You don't want to give your
wow. Oh my God.
That's how they were comparing it. All these people who are like, no, you can't do this and you can't do that. I was like, they've been doing this, this is how we get the corn that we have now that's even edible because it's been genetically modified. Our corn today is nowhere near the way that the corn was, 100 years ago. But it doesn't mean that it's bad.
Right. And I mean, it's just people who don't have any kind of scientific background, for one thing, never took an organic chemistry class, don't know shit about science in any kind of real measurable way, certainly don't have a degree in it or something like that, but then want to come on as though they're, the doctor's son and all this kind of knowledge that they have because they read a fucking website or a forwarded email or something like that.
Right.
Just ludicrous. So I don't really, I feel like the Yum brands, and I adore the Yum brands. I want to say that. Pizza Hut, love it. Taco Bell, I adore it. And what's the third one?
KFC.
KFC. I cannot.
Which we have KFC news.
Tell me the KFC news. What is the new thing with KFC?
Well, the new thing with the KFC is the old thing with KFC.
Right.
After 20 years, they're bringing the Colonel back.
And I've seen it on television, actually.
Yes.
And I happen to be watching TV over at my mom's, and my mom says, "Oh, that looks like Daryl Hannah." I'm like, Daryl Hannah? you think it looks like the girl from Splash? And she's like, no, the guy from Saturday Night Live. I'm like, oh, that's Daryl Hammond. She thinks he looks like Daryl Hammond, and in that she's correct.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really funny. She's like, Daryl Hannah? I'm like, he looks like Daryl Hannah. How the hell does the Colonel look like Daryl Hannah? I think it looks a lot like the old Colonel used to look. Don't you agree?
Yeah, oh, he definitely looks like the old Colonel. I don't have the commercial queued up, but they had, you know, a teaser commercial that was just, you know, we're bringing the Colonel back, and it's he's got his bucket with his face on it, and he's walking around giving people, you know, KFC. So they're bringing the Colonel back. They're bringing back that the bucket with his face on it. A lot of the restaurants are actually getting remodeled to have that old look, and their lights are going to be like upside down buckets and stuff. So,
and here is the commercial you were talking about. I think you should be able to see it right now. This is from the CNN Money website. Can you see it?
I can see it. You just got to scroll. There you go.
It's working, and it is. In fact, my mom was right. She totally nailed it. I didn't know she was right. It's the Saturday Night Live veteran, it says here, starring in KFC's latest ad. That means it's got to be Daryl Hammond.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so there it is. And she was right, but she was not right in the first place because she said it was Daryl Hannah. And I don't know why the commercial will not play on this damn laptop that I borrowed. Oh, there's a look at him. There he is. And by the way, this also says KFC is rolling out a video game based on Colonel Sanders' life called Colonel
Quest. I played it.
You've played it?
I played it on my cell phone, and he, like, it starts off in elementary school, and you have to, like, jump over the desk, and you have to avoid the teacher throwing stuff at you. And I got a little bored with it, but I still did play.
Unbelievable. I did not know about this game, and I did not know about any of this coming out. It comes on the heels, by the way, of the guy, the Hamburglar, that is back in McDonald's advertising.
Yeah. Now, I've got the video up. Would you like to see
Play it, please.
All right, let me go. All right. I think it's a different video than you were looking at, but I've got it here.
Lay it on me. Okay, so there's the ad. Finger licking good. Well.
Yeah, and so there's one of the kitchens. It definitely has that throwback look to it.
I will tell you this. I seem to go back to this a lot, talking about myself, and I try not to talk about myself, but I spent last year in the nation of Mexico.
Right.
Teaching English, and one of the things I instantly noticed, because it's one of the places where I instantly started going, I've told my McDonald's bad burger story in Mexico on this show. I won't repeat it other than to say the bad burger at McDonald's in Mexico made me sick. One thing that never made me sick was the KFC, and they had a KFC right next to the McDonald's almost everywhere I went, everywhere I lived, in the couple of places where I lived in Mexico. And the best part of it was that it was not called KFC in Mexico. It's still called Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Fried chicken.
And we all know that the reason they dropped that full name in favor of the initials was that people have a bad association with the word fried.
Right. And it's so funny that I was just looking at my phone right before, about 15 seconds prior, that my boyfriend, who's sitting on the couch 5 feet away from me. He was like, "Do you know why they took it to KFC was to remove the fried from
because of the word fried?" And so it's interesting. I think it's really interesting that they did the whole thing with getting rid of the word fried only now in 2015 to kind of throw back to the way it used to be and going back to the old ways of the old spokesperson and the old design and all of that.
Yeah, because when you looked at that order, the counter, it said Kentucky Fried Chicken. It didn't say KFC. It was, the whole thing. So
exactly.
That is really neat.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever been thrown out of a fast food place?
Not yet. I was not at the Chuck E. Cheese that you guys got asked to leave.
Oh, man, I forgot about that. That's another one of those stories that you and I go back, well, let's say 20 years and be nice to ourselves. But, I mean, it's been a long time, and I had forgotten entirely that we were filming some kind of bit for our Rocky Horror show back in the 90s.
Something. There's a helicopter or something.
And it was we were filming in the little fun house. Now, I will say this. We got asked, we didn't get kicked out of Chuck E. Cheese. We just got kicked out of the play area. That's because we as adults were playing on the play area toys and filming ourselves doing it for purposes of a bit that we would use later on videotape. And the long and short of it is that it was in the middle of the day. There were no kids present anywhere in the restaurant. It was just the three of us who showed up for lunch on a weekday. Chuck E. Cheese in costume. I believe I was not in costume because I was sort of the
filming.
I was the director and the camera guy who was also not in costume. But we had our good buddy Ryan, who, bless his heart, was there in his riffraff getup, the makeup, the outfit, the whole thing, and doing a bit as riffraff on the helicopter, going back and forth.
Yeah, just back and forth, and the look on that woman's face, who was like, "You guys need to leave," and she looked at the camera kind of like.
And she made it into the show, frankly, because she stepped in as we were filming the scene, and we really only got one take of that, and it was her kicking us out that kind of. I got to say, it's one of those spontaneous moments you could never have written in a script, and yet it made everybody laugh. It might have been one of the biggest sort of spontaneous laughs we got. The reason I bring that up is because there was a rather disturbing story of an elderly couple. Where was this?
It was in, I want to say, Pennsylvania.
I want to say right.
Yeah, it was at a McDonald's, basically, and this older couple that had this tradition of always kind of just going to McDonald's, have a $1 burger and their $1 coffee, were asked to leave, and rather rudely.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out what exactly is. I'm turning to this story here. It looks like it goes back to March. The stories in the WTOP story that I'm seeing here. Let me actually put it up on the screen so we can see it, because it's a couple months old now, and yet it's only now coming to my awareness. And we scour these news sites for fast food news pretty regularly. But they were told they had a 30-minute limit, and they were told they had to move because the crew needed to mop in that area. Which is just really, really upsetting. Now, they say this now happened on February 21st, so it's been a couple of months now. It's a place they've gone to for years, and he says, "You two are going to have to leave. Your half hour is up, and we need to clean this floor." The restaurant was not crowded. I don't sense it was late it was 2:30 p.m., so it was not like they were not staying a half an hour past closing time or anything. First time they've ever been asked to leave a McDonald's. And they've been patrons of the fast food chain for decades, and since their own children were kids. So I mean, the couple has 6 children who are now between 43 and 61. So think about how long they have been McDonald's customers. They're on a fixed income. They got their $1 sandwiches, which, let's face it, who among us that goes to McDonald's has never bought one of the $1 sandwiches at McDonald's? Because that's one of the great things about McDonald's is their bargain, cheap menu. So now, what is sort of the follow-up? It looks like that finally hit the media.
Yeah, it finally kind of hit the media, and they said that, you know, they were, you know, gravely humiliated, and the restaurant sent them free coffee coupons. I mean, their response to this was, "Oh, here, have a couple of free coffees," which, you know, is not that great. And the people who were kicked out actually opted to return the coupons back to McDonald's because that was just, you know, insult to injury.
Yeah, it was quite insulting. In fact, I mean, it was insult on top of an insult because they're there going, "Hey, you know, we've been customers here," and it wasn't just that they've been customers at McDonald's around the country. It was this restaurant that they, I think, frequented for a long time and really were. So they're never going to go back there. They sent back their free coffee coupons, and this, by the way, at a time, and not just now, but the past year or so. McDonald's has been hurting in a revenue sense, in a very real way. McDonald's has been working hard at revamping its image and revamping its restaurants and revamping its commercials and bringing back old, you know, throwback characters like the Hamburglar and stuff, all in a way to try to get back to what McDonald's used to be, which was a place to take your kids on a Friday evening to get a hamburger and a Happy Meal and have a good time on the play area. And for anything like this to have occurred, now, it's not like it's representative of all McDonald's or anything like that, but at the same time, those corporate people probably should have reached out and bent over backwards to make those old people feel better after being kicked out of a McDonald's restaurant. That's just absolutely insane.
The social media also is a big part of it because that's how it got all the attention to begin with, and then they did Firestorm on Facebook, then was on the local news, and so other people in the community actually started seeing this. There was a restaurant just down the road called Sean's Smokehouse Barbecue, and he promised to give that couple free meals for life. And then also, all seniors and veterans every Wednesday are going to get free coffee.
So that's, I mean, that's a good example of what McDonald's should have done in the first place, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how they should have treated these people. We're so sorry. Here is free breakfast for a year. Here is something really substantial to show you how sorry we are for you and for all the other old people out there watching the news, because we all know the old people like to watch the news. And it's important for them to know that they're welcomed at this fast food establishment, not just in this one town or this one state or this one franchise, but all around the world, because McDonald's is hurting. And if they're going to be smart about this, they need to try and be smart about this. It doesn't sound like they are.
No, I mean, first they kicked out any, and that one was Pennsylvania, that any youth, anyone under the age of 18 could not be in there unaccompanied. Now they're getting rid of, you know, the seniors.
And who among us, I mean, it's like that old sentence, you know, first they came to get rid of me because I was a teenager. And then they came out because I was an elderly person. And then they came to kick me out. And there was no one left to stand up for me in the McDonald's.
Yeah,
I just turned a biblical parable into a fast food related parable. And I think I'm proud of myself. I'm going to pat myself on the back.
I'm very proud of you. I will pat you via the internet.
Thank you.
So one thing I saw this week, and I instantly thought of us in our show, was that I go to the 30-minute lunch break, fast food driving thing. Carl's Jr., that's what it's called.
I think a lot of people do that. I think a lot of people have a 30-minute lunch break and love to whip out to the quick nearest fast food place, even if it's just across the street.
Right. So I have a Carl's Jr. right down the road from my work, and going through the drive-thru, I saw this wonderful, lovely thing. They are doing a Ding Dong ice cream sandwich.
Holy shit, look at that.
Now, Carl's Jr. definitely is known for their innovative ice cream sandwiches. They've had the Pop-Tart ice cream sandwich. They've done... you know, the Captain Crunch milkshake. They do, you know, dessert pretty well at Carl's Jr. So now they have, for $1.50, a ding dong ice cream sandwich. So
that's a good price. I like that price.
Yeah. So.
And it's actually a ding dong cut in half with a scoop of ice cream.
It's 2 ding dongs. It's ding dong
Two
ice
ding
cream ding dong.
I'm having like palpitations because
Palpitations?
I was sure that was one ding dong sliced in half with ice cream. That is a double ding dong, damn good idea. Speaking of news, let's talk about the news for a second, because I think we maybe even covered this in one of our very first shows, sitting side by side in the old studio that we used to do this show in back when you were still in the same town. But a man who worked at Burger King was pepper sprayed. Do you remember this story?
I think so. Because you sent it to me earlier, but
yeah, well, it was a case of like just a family, sort of like a feud situation, not the game show Family Feud, but like actually two people who were just kind of engaged in some kind of personal thing, and a woman came to his workplace, which happened to be a Burger King, and pepper sprayed him. Okay, shot him with pepper spray.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she was in the news again because she was sentenced. She went to court. She was arrested and was sent to court. And the judge gave her a choice. You either get to go to jail or you get to get pepper sprayed yourself. Tell me what you think of that before we go on. Does that sound a little bit different than what you expect a judge?
One of those judges who are going to give out the weird alternative sentences. I think you've seen stuff like on Family Guy or Simpsons episodes where you have the judge that's like giving out crazy punishments for their crimes.
With the exception that this is not a cartoon on the Fox network. This happens to be real life.
Right.
In this case, she went ahead and said, I'll get pepper sprayed.
Right.
Would you agree? Would you do that? Would you pick jail or would you pick the pepper spray?
I probably would pick the pepper spray and have the cleanup readily available. The
cleanup. If you were in a courtroom and you didn't know that was going to be your option.
Right. If I didn't know that was going to be my option, I'd see how long the jail time was. Okay.
I don't know. Let's actually switch back because that's a good point. And I think it was going to be like, let's see here. Okay, here's the quote from the worker. It hurt. It burned. It stung. It was scary at first because I didn't think I was going to get my eyesight back, said worker France Rolls. You understand this is a criminal offense. I could assault. I could put you in jail for 6 months, all right? But in this case, he gave her a choice of 30 days in prison or to get pepper sprayed like she did to her victim. So
I would get sprayed at that point.
It's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And she went for the pepper spray. I don't know if this video will play. I have not had good luck getting videos to play while we're on the air here. Oh, look, it looks like it's going to try. There's the video of it actually happening, and then there's the victim there. I don't know why these videos will not play. I guess I got a fucked up laptop here. But anyway, here's the ultimate story is she chose the pepper spray, and the guy came up to her and sprayed her in the eyes with the canister. And it turns out it was just saline solution, like any contact lens wearer would spray in their eyes.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually. The idea, the judge said, was to scare her and sort of make her think that she was going to get pepper sprayed.
Right.
To teach her the lesson of what it's like to think you're going to get pepper sprayed. Without the mess or the muss or the pain of the actual thing. I think it's very clever and very creative. I don't know if it was very effective because, I mean, I feel like once she's just wiping her eyes going, oh, that wasn't so bad. And then the judge is going,
ha, ha, ha. Oh, yeah.
Here's the judge at the thing going, ha, 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 now that'll teach you, young lady. And it's like, I'm not sure it really taught her anything.
Right.
I like the
if they got
story.
if they got into a disruption again or a dispute again, it was like, oh, well, I'll just go ahead and spray with pepper again because I didn't get any punishment for it.
I do think it was explained to her at some point that it was not the real thing, and the point was to scare her straight rather than to injure her. And in that sense, I like his creativity. I'm not sure it was as effective as he seemed to think it was, going, ha, 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 ha. Now you know what it's like to almost get pepper sprayed. She doesn't know what it's like to get pepper sprayed, so I'm not sure she's going to really change her ways. I'm not sure that judge taught her anything, but it must be crappy to be at Burger King, working your ass off, trying to, you know, bring home as much money as possible for whatever your family or for yourself or whatever, pay the rent, and get pepper sprayed by some girl who you, what? I don't know if they were used to be a couple or what their prior association was, but it was something like that. Well,
I don't know.
I don't know either. Let's see. I think you sent me a couple other stories. We have a couple.
We're running down on time.
Yeah, my battery's about to conk out, but we could do one more.
Well, I was going to say there was that game. I didn't know if you wanted to play the snack game.
Oh, yes. Bring it up on your screen if you can. Let's play it. Let's bring
it up on my screen. Now, I think, honestly, this is ingenious.
This is guess what food has been crushed. Is that right?
That's right. So it's 5 or 6 crushed ones. So
okay.
The first
I think that is... can I go ahead and scroll down? Let's see the options. That looks like vanilla. I was going to say before I even saw the options that was going to be vanilla wafers. That looks like
I was thinking also.
It could be animal crackers. Oh, okay, so there you go.
Yeah, it was animal crackers.
I was basing that on the lack of brownness. Okay, there's a chip or cracker, like it could be Cheez-Its or Cheese Nips.
Well, here are our choices.
Okay, I don't think that's Doritos. I think that's Fritos.
I'm gonna go Fritos also because Sun Chips. It was Doritos.
Doritos? Really? I don't know. That doesn't seem. I mean, maybe it's Cool Ranch or something. It's certainly not nacho cheese Doritos. Okay, this next one. Let's see here. Let's see the options. Popcorn, no. Saltines, maybe. Actually, I think that's what it is saltine crackers. It could
I'm going to go with Pringles.
It could be Pringles. I'm going to stick with saltines, though.
It's definitely not Wheat Thins.
Pringles. I have not gotten one right so far. This crushed food game is much harder than it seems. All right, there's one. Graham crackers, Fritos. I think these might be Fritos, actually.
Those might be Fritos. They're still not Sun Chips.
Could be Sun Chips. Okay. This Fritos were right. I got one right, finally. Hooray. Here's one.
I'm going to show you the options. This one is definitely, I can tell what this is.
Orangey. Oh, this has got to be Cheetos, doesn't it?
It's got to be Cheetos.
Yeah. Cheese Puffs. Oh, yeah, Cheetos. Okay. Cheetos brand Cheese Puffs. Okay, good. Let's see here. What do we got? Pringles. Oh, let's see. Saltines. No. Funyuns. I'm not sure I know what Funyuns look like. Those look like Lay's potato chips crushed.
Yeah, because I think Funyuns are more round. Hey, there you go.
All right. So now I'm getting the hang of it here. This looks like a cookie or a cracker. Those look like Ritz crackers to me. Is Ritz an option?
Those look like pretzels to me.
Oh, pretzels. Okay, yeah. Okay, pretzels it is.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with some internet lag, so I'm not seeing it, I think, as clearly as you are. Are those cashew nuts? Cashew?
Yeah, we have cashews as an option.
I think it's cashews based on the curvature, yeah. I'm good with nuts. And that is not a homosexual joke, by the way. I just happen to be good at identifying crushed nuts. Okay. These are either Cheez-Its or Cheese Nips. Or, wait, that could be Goldfish, actually.
I think it's Goldfish.
Okay, yeah, based on the roundness of some of the remnants, I think Goldfish. Yeah, okay, good.
Hey,
7 out of 9.
7 out of 9 right.
You crushed it, as it said. Isn't that an adorable? Isn't that an adorable little pun? Well,
it is adorable, but I am going to take some because I have a plethora of snack foods at my desk as I sit at a computer screen for 8.5 hours a day, and the only thing to keep me occupied is my food. And
so you're going to crush some things up, and we're going to play our own version of this, you're saying?
Yeah, I think I'll crush some things up and take a few photos, and we'll see if you can figure out what I've done. Now, if you have foods you would like to crush up.
You know what? I think I can do that. I think we should both do that and try to like sort of stymie or stump the other one. I think that's a great idea. And we've kind of hit the end of our hour. Before my laptop completely collapses, let's go ahead and wrap this up. It's been a great hour. We'll be back next Saturday at 10 p.m. on the Pacific Coast, 0500 GMT. For now, I'm Sebastian.
I'm Sarah Bell.
And we will see you next time on the Fast Food, Junk Food Extravaganza.